Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. What do we have here? Well, the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Saudi Arabia, and we already know where exactly the peace talks will start. Mr. Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of the Russian Federation, will also travel to Saudi Arabia. I think he's on his way as we speak. I have the date of the meetings between the Russian Federation's team and the United States' team, negotiating team in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I also have a date for the ceasefire of the war in Ukraine, according to Bloomberg. So, at the end of this video, I will reveal Sergei Lavrov's, the foreign minister of the Russian Federation's, goals in meeting the American delegation. They haven't changed. Remember, Russia supposedly attacked, Ukraine unprovoked and undefensible. It's just illogical, unjustifiable. That was the word. No justification. Well, maybe not justification because you don't like it. The Russians stated their 4 goals and justifications why they invaded unprovoked Ukraine, and Lavrov will keep those 4 again, as our goals will be this 4. All right, let's start with the first article, and that comes from Reuters, and it is from today, 17th of February 2025. Rubio arrives in Saudi Arabia before Russia talks to end Ukraine war. This will be a process, my friends. This is not going to be they meet one time and that would be it. It's just going to be the beginning of the process. It's going to lay down probably the foundation of the negotiations. Riyadh. Russia said Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will hold talks with top U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Until yesterday, it was nothing about Sergei Lavrov traveling over there. It was concerning to me. And I said it's kind of impossible. But here he is, coming there. On Tuesday, that will focus on ending the war in Ukraine and restoring the whole complex of Russia-US ties. On Tuesday, so today is Monday, the 17th of February. So on Tuesday will be this. On Tuesday will be the meeting. Marco Rubio arrived in capital of Saudi Arabia on Monday on previously planned trip to United States. Now, I don't like this, I will tell you straight. They have this Steve Witkoff, the Middle East envoy, who should not have anything to do with Ukraine, but he's Jewish. Zelensky is Jewish. So I don't like that. As maybe he has something that he would pose a subjective leaning. Who are set to arrive later on Monday will be joining him at the talks with the Russians. Well, very good. That's fantastic. And here it is, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told that Lavrov and Yuri Ushakov, a foreign policy advisor to President Vladimir Putin, would fly to Saudi Arabia capital Riyadh on Monday. Excellent, excellent. Now, let's go to the next article coming from Ukrainska Pravda. U.S. Secretary of State arrives in Saudi Arabia for talks with Russia. This is obviously for the Ukrainians, and the same people show up here. Next one. Lavrov traveling to Saudi Arabia to prepare Trump+Putin meeting, the Kremlin. This is from 17th of February, from today, Monday. The Russian foreign minister will meet the U.S. leaders' team in Riyadh on Tuesday, tomorrow, the 18th. So this is the date these guys will meet to discuss further presidential talks. All right, so last week, Pakaka will traveling to Riyadh to meet with American delegation on Tuesday. The talks will be dedicated to the rebuilding of bilateral ties, including upcoming talks on resolving the Ukraine crisis and the organization of the Putin-Trump meeting. I don't see any Middle East here. Why is that guy the expert? You know why. You always have to have the traitors close to you. Peskov explained that Saudi Arabia was chosen as the location for the high-level talks because it, and I'm quoting, suits both the American and Russian sides. All right, so they will be over there, they will be talking, and then we have here, Russian Foreign Minister outlines key goals for talks with US. So what are Russia's goals in talking to these guys. And it will be the same four. Moscow wants to hear what Washington has to say on settling the Ukrainian crisis, Sergei Lavrov said. So let's see what he says. The presidents agreed that it is necessary to resume dialogue on all issues that can be resolved one way or another with the participation of Russia and the US. Therefore, we will listen to our American counterparts and, of course, we will be ready to respond. Then we will respond to our leader and we will report to our leaders who will take decisions on further steps. You see here, we will listen to them. In negotiations, as in fighting, negotiations are a war, a fight, you don't expose your side. Don't expose your troops' location, what you have, you deceive. So you always want the other side to reveal its positions, and then you pick its positions, and then you reshape your attacks. That's what it is in Sun Tzu's Art of War, in Miyamoto Musashi's Gori no Sho. You can go and read those books if you haven't yet, and it's the same thing. You are countering, you're not attacking. If you attack, it has to be a very big surprise for the opponent, which is the first one. And the second one, if you attack, you just feint the attack and see how the person was prepared to counter you in case you attack, and reveals his position. Now, of course, the Russians are over there like, okay, you want to talk? That's basically what it is. You want to talk? Okay, let's talk. What do you want? So you have to reveal your, or at least you have to come with a framework and say, this is what we want, this is, and then you can change those. It doesn't necessarily mean that if the Americans will say, okay, we think this, we want this, during the conversation or negotiations, I'm sure they will change. They will have a different ones, even they will change 180 degrees. They will be, well, yeah, but this change, according to what you said, we have to adjust, adapt. So it's going to be a war, a verbal, a negotiation, let's put it this way. All right, let's see what it is here. Moscow has stressed that it seeks a permanent solution to the conflict rather than a temporary ceasefire. It has insisted that Ukraine must commit to neutrality, that means no NATO, denazification, what they call, Bandera and all that, and demilitarization, as well as to recognize the territorial reality on the ground, that is Donbas, Crimea. Right? These are the initial ones that the media in the West refused to use as their justification. It doesn't mean that they are fair for the Ukrainians. But if you come to me and you threaten me, I think I respond. You are in my, how do you call that, safety bubble, comfort zone, and I don't like that. And if I can smack you, I will smack you. I warn you, back the fuck off, like the Russians did so many times to NATO, not to the Ukrainians. Ukrainians decided to violate the 1994 Budapest Memorandum, which guaranteed its neutrality, by doing what? By accepting the other guy's proposal in 2008 in the Bucharest NATO summit, when, if you remember, George W. Bush said, one day Georgia and Ukraine will be invited to join NATO. I wonder against whom. So Putin said, okay, that's it. That means these guys want to stop. In 2014, the overthrow of the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych, legitimate government with democracy, as skewed as it was, as here and everywhere else. Nothing is perfect, but you. So in this case, this guy said, okay, you want NATO, you want to take the neutrality. Hoppa, there you go. Good morning to you too. And they said, we can't let that happen. I mean, all these those arguments coming from the United States of America or NATO saying that, well, it's the free choice of the people of Ukraine, and if they want to be part of NATO, we have an open door policy. Yes, but we have some agreements from 1991, no inch eastward expansion of NATO. Remember that one? The gentleman agreement between then the Soviets and the Russians and the Americans. I'm listening. James Baker, remember? Secretary of State. All right, so they lied. They were not gentlemen. So that was the first one. The second one, do you remember the signed document? Budapest Memorandum, 1994. Then you overthrew, you helped overthrow the legitimate government of Viktor Yanukovych in 2014. all these things, you were in hall. All right, so they had reasons to beat these guys up, and they did. Why do you think the Americans are talking to the Russians now? It's not because they're friendly or Trump is an idealist and he loves Jesus or something. No, it's not that. He understands that the economic situation will not go good for his country and for us in general. Not that he cares, I think, much for us. But if we go and pick up our pitchforks and our torches and go towards something, then he's not going to be okay. And the media works towards that one. So they had justifications. The other side ignored them. 2021, October, November, December, and January and February 2022, the Russians proposed NATO and the United States of America to negotiate to get security guarantees. This guy said, no, we want you. You got it. We want you, and we want Putin to go. So now let's see the date, which already we know is the 18th of February 2025. Russia media announces date of Ukraine talks. The U.S. Secretary of State, boop, 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 and we have somewhere here, they say, where is it? They already mentioned it. And of course, it's right here. I didn't see it. I saw it at the beginning. So, Ukraine talks between U.S. and Russian delegation are slated to take place in the Saudi capital, Riyadh, on February 18th. That is tomorrow. Kommersant, the newspaper, wrote on Sunday. And let's go to the last article. Trump wants Ukraine ceasefire by Easter. Did you know that? Well, that is, according to Bloomberg. The U.S. President envoy on the conflict, Keith Kellogg, has spoken of getting a peace deal within weeks. The administration of U.S. Donald Trump is pushing for a ceasefire in Ukraine conflict by, I would like you to keep this in mind, April 20th. You know what it is? If you don't know, I will let you know. That's the birthday of that guy. What, 1889, April 20th? You know the guy? Bloomberg wrote on Sunday, citing anonymous sources. Well, whatever it is, I hope it happens soon. This is just the beginning. Now, in order to have in April, so we're what, mid-February, March, April, 2 months. 2 months, the delegations will meet a lot. I guess during those times there will be the communication between the two negotiating teams, and Trump will meet Putin in Riyadh. He said he's all for it. And Putin is wherever you want, man, wherever. Just send me location. Remember Khabib? And we said to Conor McGregor, send me location. I'll be there, I will come. Same here, send me location. That's Putin. Send me location, I will come there, yes. All right, thank you very much for being with me again today. Very good news, very good news. This is just Tatonare, it's called. It's just, I see what you do, at least they're talking, and it seems like they are genuinely willing to solve misunderstandings. Not solve misunderstanding. I don't think it's any misunderstanding. I think it's the Americans realized that they need to allow the Russians at the big boy table. That's what it is. And unfortunately, Russia had to do this through a war. And so many casualties on the Ukraine side, Russian side, and because it's 3 years lost, I think, for our economies and so on. But some people made a ton of money, and they're still having the power to influence the political achievements. And what do you think? Trump has that the guy in the Middle East, Ferkov, whatever his name is. Let me find the name for you, which I keep an eye on. Obviously. Where are you, baby doll? Come on, show yourself. So, okay, Steve Witkov. He's Witkov, not Witkov. In America, or if you see someone like Witkov or Zelensky Steinsoff with double F, he's OV. He's from that side. Anyway, but he's still a. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.